Hello Indie Game fans, we are back in full gear with a bunch of titles this week, so see what you can play in this regularly sized edition of Indie Gaming this week. Let's begin with Blackwind, a top-down shooter where you play as a teenager in a battle armor suit, having to fight off an alien invasion in order to save the world. This title was initially planned for launch last year but got delayed, but I do think that the action looks fantastic. If you want to take a walk on the dark side, Strange Horticulture might be of interest, where you run a local plant store, gathering and experimenting with various herbs and selling them to your customers, which can affect the story. It is Papers, Please-like in a way, where you only see the consequences of your actions through the lens of another character, but it's a very interesting narrative game that is of interest. Some of you mentioned that you love seeing shoot-'em-up games in the videos, so one of interest this week is SHINORUBI, one that is inspired by classic Japanese titles and looks to bring all of that same insanity and intensity as one of those games. It is a very classic bullet hell entry where your weak point on the ship is reduced to a single point, looking like it's for fans of the genre. I previewed Pupperazzi in my video looking forward to Games of the Month, where this continues a recent resurgence of photography games, this time having you taking photos of derpy dogs. It looks light-hearted and fun, where the animation or lack thereof of the dogs gives it an added layer of whimsy, with this developer's past catalogue being worth a play as well. A super interesting title that has great pixel art is Needy Streamer Overload, one that perhaps parallels the lives of some of your favourite streamers, where our protagonist transforms into the character known as OMG Kawaii Angel-chan when she live streams, with this game exploring the thrills and hazards that come along with it. It is more of a simulation or visual novel type title, where in addition to the content schedule, you need to deal with online comments as well, which might be a heavy subject. There are no content warnings on Steam, although I do think that there might be some triggering content, so do take note on that. It does also come to us in part from WSS Playground or Why So Serious, who you might remember from titles like Touhou Lunar Nights and Delit in Wonder Labyrinth, so of course it got my attention.
I was born of death, of impending doom. One day I laid my head down as a child and awoke the next as a man. And then I picked up the blade. I was born of vengeance. I sailed across the oceans, walked on scorching sands, rode through the darkest forests. Myriad lands have I seen. I conquered them all.
While there are some huge game releases this week, in our sphere of the A or B game, we are looking at Expeditions Rome, and interestingly enough, hex grid turn-based RPG set in Roman times. It does have a little bit of a CRPG feel and does look promising, where it is being published by THQ Nordic.
For others, an opportunity to work with me and avoid the wrath my might represents. And to others still, mercy for those who begged and where I deemed fit. But Rome was born of war and death, strength and decision, by the cutting edge of the blade. And every Roman, as the world knows quite well, is a born warrior. I am a Roman, and this is my story.
There are quite a number of smaller games of interest this week, so I'll bang them out, beginning with Alan's Automaton Workshop, an open-ended programming puzzle game that looks like a game from Zachtronics, but is actually from a developer that I've never heard of before, Laputa Labs, so let's hope that they have the same puzzle game chops as well.
If I told you my story, you probably wouldn't believe it. I've seen wonders of nature on an alien world. I've uncovered lost mysteries and sought their truth.
I remember covering Aquamarine's Kickstarter campaign, which ended up being unsuccessful, but the developers have soldiered on and are releasing this classic turn-based roguelike this week with some nice art and unconventional gameplay mechanics.
I'll show you. My story began long ago on a planet I call Aquamarine.
Blacksmith Legends is a management sim where you operate a workshop, crafting weapons and tools and shaping the kingdom in the process, looking like a great management title. Foul Under Kingdom is one of the more interesting looking city builder puzzle games, having you placing tiles on a map like Carcassonne, and does also give off some Euro style board game vibes, definitely being of interest to me. Ibatic is a free 3D platformer with a focus on time trials, looking pretty sleek for a free entry. Luckitown is the next entry from the Sock Pop Collective, being a turn-based tower defense game that involves rolling dice to play structures, but I hope that there's more to this game since I love the concept. McSpace Colosseum is an action roguelite with the classic Space Gladiator setup, looking like a pretty neat entry and should be free as well. I believe RPGolf Legends is an enhanced version of RPG Golf for mobile that is releasing on Steam and major platforms this week, being an action-adventure golf game, and while Golf Story is absent on PC, this might be our next best alternative, but I believe that the reception to the original on Android was just alright, so I'm cautiously optimistic on this. Skator Gator is an awesome looking auto runner where you're switching between rails in a level, looking to have a simple but compelling gameplay loop. The developer of Spiders Everywhere did reach out to me, and I immediately fell in love with the look, being a monochrome side-scrolling action platformer with the Cuphead-style rubber hose animation that makes it look awesome, with this version on Steam being just one level, with the developer having plans of making a bigger game, so certainly check this out.
Banished her?
With a time crystal, she can be brought back.
Where can I find one?
The Tribes of Time.
Time Master is a 3D puzzle platformer with the main mechanic of creating paradoxes and rewinding time, and while certainly not a new concept, looks pretty decent here.
And scattered across the Sky Isles.
What just happened?
You're all too familiar with paradoxes, Xeno. Use them to your advantage. You have the fragments.
Now what?
Bring them to the portal.
This is the last one.
I remember covering tough love when looking for beat 'em up titles where I loved the papercraft look, so hopefully the action will be able to meet our expectations. Finally, Velocity Noodle is a 2D pixel art time trial racer about delivering noodles as quickly as you can, but from the setting and genre, it really does remind me of Aeon Drive from last year, so let's see if this gets more success. Let's kick off the top 5 with Watcher Chronicles, a 2D Souls-like title that I quite like the look of, despite it not having the classically grimdark Souls-like look. I hope that this is more like Salt and Sanctuary or Death's Gambit, with an interconnected world, having both monstrous bosses and smaller enemies to battle. There are RPG elements, unique weapons, magic and deliberate combat, and might just be a hidden gem to look out for this year. An awesome pixel art action roguelite makes it out of early access with Blade Assault, having spent slightly more than 6 months in the program, and is set in quite a classic cyberpunk dystopia. You play as a resistance fighter battling against the corrupt military, fighting your way up and out of the dank Undercity to ascend to the heights of the Sky City. The pixel art looks fantastic, and through early access, they've added 2 new characters for a total of 3, with plenty of weapons, upgrades and a friendship system with NPCs in the mix as well. It comes to us from another Korean developer that perhaps has a high bar to live up to with Skull the Hero Slayer, but certainly check this out when it launches in full. A highly anticipated title is Windjammers 2, being the sequel to a cult classic that has been many years in the making. This is a sports title that has you throwing frisbees and trying to score points, with a variety of special abilities and different characters to keep things interesting. I've only dabbled with the original years after the fact, and am thus excited to get in on the ground floor with this. Another potential hidden gem of interest for the week is Alina of the Arena, a roguelike tactics title that combines Into the Breach with Slay the Spire, even having a pixel art look, where longtime fans of the channel will know that this is the perfect combination for me. You play as a gladiator, struggling to survive, being pitted against a whole bunch of monsters as you try to do so. Enemy attacks and moves are telegraphed, so you can trick them into attacking each other, which, combined with the deck building aspect, sure looks like a great experience. And of course, Nobody Saves the World is the title that I'm most excited about for the week, since it comes to us from the developer of the Guacamelee series of Metroidvania games, but it's a very different type of game with a different art style as well. This is a Zelda-style action-adventure title but with puzzle elements, where you play as Nobody, who, upon picking up a magic wand, can transform into a variety of other forms, combining their abilities in order to save the world. Everything that this developer has done is pretty much gold, so to say that expectations are high is an understatement, but with the bits shown in this trailer of the writing, art and action, I'm confident that this will turn out well, taking the #1 spot. For more Zelda-like titles, watch these videos and I will see you after the jump.